It's a pleasure to present to you now also a brief version of what we've heard and presented in the last 60 or so minutes to you in English. I make it rather short and brief so that we have questions for you if something is unclear. And I hope that I will be able to answer all the questions because the experts are now leaving. Anyway, what are the topics? I will give you a brief update on where we are in terms of the legislation. Then I will give you an overview on our thinking on how to actually design and present in the wallet the credentials, how this stuff will look like, and how we plan to do it from a technical point of view. That is the second topic. Then this is a theme that I'm not so sure to what extent it is relevant to the international community. However, here in Switzerland, it is very important. It is the question to what extent the EID is voluntary or if there is a duty, an obligation to have one. We have a number of other projects going on in that context, in particular with regard to the protection of minors and the so-called registry for organ donors. I will explain that in more details afterwards. And then finally, a few comments on the trust registry and the entry of legal entities into the trust registry. I hope this agenda is interesting to you, and with no further ado, I will go ahead. A little bit of housekeeping. Also, this session will be recorded and afterwards published on YouTube. And currently, we have 5 job vacancies open. A program coordination position. We are looking for an ICT consultant for open source and community management. So you would literally switch the site from where you are now and come to us and help us take care of our GitHub and other stuff. So that is this position. Then we're looking also for an ICT consultant, which is going to help me with regard to the development and setup of the ecosystem and other marketing activities. Then we're looking for somebody who is helping us when it comes to the technologies and how we have to move forward in terms of technology. So an ICT consultant for technology leadership. And finally, we are looking also for somebody who will own the whole product of the wallet, the EID, the trust infrastructure, and has also a background in human-centered design. We have already received quite a lot of interesting profiles, but do not hesitate to send us your CV and your motivation letter rather quickly. We will look at it for sure. Okay, with that, I continue. I am not sure to what extent Christian is going to help me with the chat. Otherwise, I will now focus on the presentations and we'll look at the chat afterwards. If you have a question, then please turn on the mic on and just jump in. I'm not sure how many we still are, but I assume that we are all civilized and we can do that without too much censorship, or I should rather say with no censorship. Okay, so on the legislative process, there is not so much that has been happened since last time due to the summer break. In the meantime, the Commission for Legal Affairs of the Council of States has published the so-called flag. That is a document which shows very clearly, how the debate was, what amendments have been made by this commission, what amendments have been made before. This has been published on the website of the Parliament, and you can have a look at it. Next week, it will get interesting. The EID law will be deliberated in the plenary of the Council of States on September 10th. However, the final vote, as the Council of States will introduce amendments which are not compatible with the version that has been presented or has been voted by the National Council, a final vote will not be possible in this session. We expect it the earliest in the winter session, which will take place in December. Which also means the referendum period if will start only obviously after the final vote. With other words, the earliest, say after Christmas, but maybe also even after the spring session, which I think will take place in February. Okay, so much on the legislative process. I continue right to the next presentation, the status design and specifications for electronic credentials. Here we have to quickly switch the presentation, but that is taken care of. Thank you so much. And here we go. Okay, so as I mentioned, obviously we have to resolve a lot of different problems, but also we have to, or we have the pleasure of trying to make the whole thing also beautiful and obviously user-friendly. Here you have two screenshots, how maybe in the wallet the credentials can be presented. And so that this works in a nice fashion, we obviously have to do some preparations before. You're kindly invited to give us feedback on what I will present to you. Just scan this QR code and let us know if you have some even better ideas on that topic. So the the motivation is really that we want to achieve user friendliness, and for that we have to impose a certain uniformity. Otherwise, there will be a visual chaos, which is not user friendly and not handleable. Another challenge that we face is that, for example, me as a father with two kids, I might want to have their EID in my wallet as well. But then, how do we distinguish these three seemingly same VCs? So this is another challenge we have to tackle. And then obviously we have to think also of people who have certain impediments in terms of seeing mainly, or also hearing. So the whole thing needs to be accessible, which poses quite some challenges. What we want to achieve is that you as a issuer, actually this DeepL translation is not perfect, I just realized. So the issuers of verifiable credentials shall have some options so that their VC appears in a fashion that they also like. And then we also obviously need to make sure that a VC looks the same on Android and on iOS, on an old phone, on a new phone. We face the fact, the challenge that the communications protocol OpenID for VC does not support all the use cases and requirements we would like to include. In particular, when it comes to the OpenID for VCI metadata protocol, that is giving us also some headaches. Then we have to think about extensions, about theming, about lifecycle and customization and so on. So there are really quite a lot of challenges that we face. We are not the only one, but we have to tackle this stuff. And in that context, we came across this overlay capture architecture, or OCA, which we believe is a good way of addressing these challenges. And I will try to very quickly show you a little bit how that works and how we also implement it. So basically, OCA is a specification of guiding principles to make data findable, accessible, interoperable, and reusable. The idea is that a VC is clearly defined in its visual representation. The OCA file connects the attributes, the data of the attribute with the so-called overlays. These different visual structures that help us to actually visualize the attributes. You see we have branding, cluster ordering, sensitive entry, standard meta, label, and so on. There are a number of different overlays. I will go into more details shortly. And the OCA file connects the attributes with these different overlays. Now, when we go back to this image I showed you in the beginning, we here see a number of visual elements, such as the verifiable credential title, in this case the registry of residence. Then we have an icon placed on this VC. We have two attributes, the name and the family name, which appears here on this summary card. And we also have a background color. So this is what you see. Now the question is, how does OCA translate that, or how does OCA enable that? And here we have now exactly the same elements, but translated into the protocol of OCA. I won't get into the details, but it is a way of standardizing and making the whole thing actually possible. This is not only the case on this overview card, but also when we go into all the different attributes which come with one verifiable credential here, a electronic identity. And here we see that we have a few additional possibilities, such as we can group attributes, we can give these attributes names, and these names can change depending in which language you are operating. We can give types to the attributes, such as, is it a text, is it a date, is it a number, is it a boolean, and so on. We can also say an attribute is actually a picture for the picture of the face or a picture of the signature. We can introduce lists of abbreviations so that a specific attribute, such as in this case, actually, I realize it's not an EID, it's rather named DL, which also specifies the category of the vehicle that the person can drive, so that we understand what B actually means. In this case, it's normal cars. So there are a number of possibilities how we can further specify the presentation of a specific attribute in a verifiable credential. And again, we have here the technical details, which I will jump over. But overall, it is our understanding or our opinion that this overlays capture architecture allows us to, on the one hand, make the verifiable credentials nice and readable, and in the same time also allows us to give you, the issuers, the possibility to define not everything, but at least quite some elements of your VCs. Now, what does that mean for an issuer? It really is annoying that we have here always exhibitor. Sorry for this poor translation. So basically, you as an issuer of a verifiable credential go through four steps, I should say. First, you create the OCA file, then you provide it, you reference it, and you exhibit it. Here we have a few more details on that. So the creation step includes the definition and the creation of a JSON file, which contains the OCA logic, and this then has to be calculated accordingly. Then this has to be uploaded into the registry. Here we are still evaluating which registry is the best for doing so. Then The whole thing has to be referenced, and you're good to go and can issue beautiful verifiable credentials. Here we see the communication between you, the issuer, and the wallet. And I won't go into all the details, but the main thing is that we would like to communicate certain elements that the protocol of OpenID for VCI metadata does not support. So we have to do a little workaround in order to allow that, but that is a feasible thing. And here you find an example of OCA extension. And what I also can say is obviously OCA as such is quite universally used specification. We, however, add 2 additional extensions which are to a certain extent derived from the ARIES branding concepts. And with this, I would like to end. I hope this overview gave you some ideas. Again, please provide us with feedback. What do you think about our choice for OCA? And do you have any hints or other remarks? Feel free. And if you have a question, as long as it is not too technical, don't hesitate to turn on the mic and let me know. That doesn't seem to be the case. So I move on and get to the next topic, to the question, is the EID really voluntary? In that context, I would like to state, first of all, the really very important. Switzerland has no identification requirement. A Swiss citizen is not obliged to possess any identity card or passport, and even less to carry along such a document. Obviously, it can be practical, even within Switzerland, to have an ID card, but there can be no disadvantage if you do not have one. Almost the same is applicable also for foreigners in Switzerland. Foreigners need to have a document, otherwise they cannot enter legally, but they are not obliged to carry it around. So overall, I think Switzerland is, as many other countries, rather liberal in that sense. There is no obligation to always identify yourself. And this principle we would like to transfer also now to the digital world, which means the EID is voluntary. In the law, you cannot find any phrase saying there is an obligation that you have an EID, or by birth EID is automatically issued, or anything to that point. There is no duty to have an EID. Hold on. Thank you. Now I think we jumped a little bit too far. I'm not sure if my pointer is correct. Can you go back? Yes, this is the slide I need. However, recently there was quite some controversy about this topic, and this is why I'm addressing it. The question or the concern that actually sort of through a backdoor, we introduce a duty anyway. On the one hand, there is the federal law on the protection of minors in the areas of film and video games, where a proof of age is required. So there is the concern that in the future you can watch YouTube or do gaming or whatever only with the electronic identity. And then there's also another case. There will be established a new registry for organ and tissue donors. And actually, if you have not stipulated somewhere that you do do not want to be a donor, you automatically are a donor. So it is important, if you don't want to be a donor, to stipulate that. And for that, there will be a electronic registry to actually register your will to not be a donor, or to be a donor, obviously also. In both of these cases, obviously the EID would be a practical means for identifying oneself. However, I can say it very clearly that in both cases, the EID will not be the only means of identification. The relevant offices, this is not something that the EID program directly is working on, but we have been liaising with the relevant offices. They are very much aware of the fact that not all persons can have or obtain an EID. Foreigners, for example, tourists who are spending some time in Switzerland and still want to access certain movies or play certain games, they would be illegal if they could only identify themselves with Swiss EID. So there are people who cannot obtain an EID, and for these people, there is the need for another solution. And then there are also Swiss people who are people who are eligible for an EID but who do not want to obtain one. And also for these people, there is the need for an alternative procedure. I won't go into the details. Not everything has been decided yet, but what we really clearly can state is that there is no obligation for an EID. And with this, I come already to the last topic. As you know, there will be a registry, actually two, the base registry and the trust registry. The main objective or the main purpose of these registries is that a third party that receives a verifiable credential can then verify if this credential is actually authentic and valid. And for that, it's not enough to just believe it. You go to the registry that the federal government is maintaining, and there you can check if the credential has been issued by the right issuer and so on. However, in order to allow this, obviously the issuer has to somehow get onto this registry in the first place. And there we have sort of a similar problem as I discussed in the very beginning. It's a question of format. It's a question of what kind of data, in what format, and so on we obtain. In the long run, this registry hopefully is also interoperable with other registries, with other countries and legislations. So this is actually a really important and a rather tricky topic. Recently, we organized a roundtable with representatives from public authorities, from standardization bodies, and also the industry to start discussion on this topic. We have not yet come up with a final solution, and it's very important to say it here. We are talking here about the process and the data that will be required in this registration process. We are not talking about the technical implementation of the registries. These are well on the way. Public beta is coming soon, so we are talking only about this process. The results from this roundtable was that obviously there is already quite a lot around, existing standards, existing sources, and we are not aiming at reinventing the wheel. However, there are quite some inefficiencies and, for example, media ruptures and other problems that we try to at least smoothen a little bit. I don't believe that we will be able to solve all the problems, but at least some. It was also, it became quite clear that it would be very helpful if hierarchies between and within legal entities would become visible. And in that context, the VLA from the Global Legal Entity Identifier Foundation was discussed as a quite strong candidate. It has not been decided yet, but that is our current thinking. If you have input on this topic, again, do not hesitate to contact us. We might organize another roundtable in the future so that we can invite you as well, or if you simply want to contribute by online. Okay, that is what I wanted to briefly tell you about the legal entities in the trust registry. And with this, I am already through the program. Now I'm obviously still available to answer questions. I will have a look at the chat, but the mic is open. Please feel free to ask your question or raise your concern. Okay. Can you explain why it is not possible to use Apple and Google Wallet for the Swiss eID? Yes, so this is in the context of the holder binding. And the main concern here is really that we would like to be really as sure as possible, 100% security does not exist, that the electronic identities that the Federal Office of Police, FedPol, will issue does actually go into a wallet that we fully understand, that we fully control, and which also provides the functionalities that we believe that the users, the holders, need to build trust into our service. So, for example, in our wallet, the wallet that will be provided by us, the verifiable credential will not be only displayed, you will get also additional information about the verifier you are in contact with. You will get information if this verifier is registered on our registry. As you might know, we will have also a list of verifiers who are misusing our infrastructure, who are engaging in over-identification. Also, such information will be provided to the holders. Also, in the case of that a verifier asks you for your social security number, we will flag that as only public institutions are allowed to actually ask for this data. You can provide it anyway, but that is basically illegal, and we would like to flag that to our to the holders of the Swiss eID. And since we are not able to impose these functionalities into a wallet provided by Google or Apple, at least in the beginning, the eID will be issued only to the wallets provided by the Swiss government. Does that answer your question, or would you like to follow up? I would like just to add that obviously we aim at opening the possibility so that third-party wallets can also receive the electronic identity issued by us. However, this will definitely not be the case in the beginning. We assume that something like a certification process would be necessary to allow third-party wallets. and we will see how things unfold, and this might be introduced at a later stage. The law for sure is allowing this, so that third-party wallets can be allowed at a later stage. Okay. Am I right that this was the only question? I need my glasses, otherwise I am blind as a cow. Let me see. Is there already a plan on how to standardize schemata in the private sector? Will there be a centralized standardization body or decentralized to the industry level? And if the latter, okay, so here I am not quite sure what the latest status is. I'm not sure if Christian is still in the call and if he could tell us something on that topic. But I believe we are still working on that. I'm not sure if I was not part of this roundtable, if that was addressed in that context. But I fully understand your question. That is a very relevant one, and we can make a lot of mistakes in that respect. Please bear a little bit more with us, and I will try to get back to you on a bilateral basis with more information if you wish so. Okay, so that was a question. Let me see if there's something else. Can you explain why this? Oh, so that one we have seen. So will it be possible for companies like insurances, for example, to identify people because of money laundering with the wallet? Okay, so the wallet, at least in the beginning, will not allow cryptocurrencies. But I don't think that was your question. Yes, obviously, if you are engaging in an activity where by law you are required to identify your customer, your client, as for knowing your customer, KYC, definitely you're more than welcome to work with the electronic identity. Yes. Okay.
Hello, here is Uğur Demirci speaking. It was my question. Can I follow up here?
Of course, your question regarding Apple and Google, right?
No, it was about KYC.
Oh, KYC. Yeah, sure. Go ahead. No problem.
Yeah. So this means that the identification data is also provided then to us as an insurance company, because currently this is the regulation that we need to have the identification data, but in the wallet it will stay at the customer's device, right?
Yes, that is correct. We are in contact with FINMA to fine tune this, but the basic principle is very simple. You, as an insurance company or any other company, and if you have a good reason for identifying your customer, and in a KYC process, obviously that is the case, you are, in our language, a verifier. You will then tell the holder that you would like to obtain certain attributes from its EID, and the holder of the EID then can decide to share this data with you or not. If the person obviously wants to get your insurance or whatever the product is, then most probably the holder will share the data. The data will then get from the wallet to you, the verifier. You will get the attributes such as name, surname, date of birth, and whatever. And you will get also a cryptographical material, which allows you then to verify on the registry if this credential has been issued by us, the federal government, if it is still valid, or if it has been revoked, and so on. So this is absolutely the base case which we aim to solve for you and many others.
Okay, thank you very much.
You're welcome. Other questions? It helps me to if you ask it on the mic, but never mind. Dick Driesen is asking, the EID is voluntary. What is the planned application process for an EID? Is it combined with the issue of an ID or passport? Okay. Yes. So if you get a new ID card or a new passport, or if you're a foreigner resident in Switzerland and you get a new Ausländerausweis, then obviously at the same time you can also ask for a EID. However, most people have already a analogous document, and actually it is always the main prerequisite that you have already a valid passport, EID card, or a foreigner's card in order to be eligible for a electronic version of it, the EID. Normally, normally we distinguish between two different processes. The one is the online application process, and the other one is the process at the counter. Let me first talk about the online version and then about the counter version. So in the case of the online application, obviously you have already your identity card. You download the wallet provided by us, the federal government, and then you scan your document. You also make a short sequence of a video registration of yourself, so that we then can match the data that we have found in our database based on the document that has been issued to you in an analog fashion, and we will match the data we have already from you with the new data that you are providing us from your wallet. If there is a match, we will issue the EID accordingly directly into your wallet. If you do not feel comfortable because there is some registration of biometric video data, or if you simply prefer to go to a counter, then this will be possible as well. And there it is possible to briefly, in the case of some doubt that the person is not able to identify you only based on your physical appearance and your document, and the person at the clerk at the counter would like to make a double check, he or she can also use automatic system to double check if there's really a match, but otherwise the data will not be stored in that case, and the EID will again be issued to your wallet. So that's roughly the application process. I would like to add that at least in the beginning, we will do the issuance of these EIDs in a rather slow fashion. So don't expect that we will issue on the first day 1 million EIDs. We will have a slow step up process in order to ensure the quality and security for everybody involved. Does that answer your question, Dick? I guess so. Let me see. Are there other questions in the meantime? Oh, Richard's just added to the KYC process. Yes, I fully agree. Thank you. And here I see also the many thanks from Dick. Thank you. I was not scrolled down enough. Okay. Are there any other questions? Feel free. I'm happy to answer the questions the best way I can. I would like to just add this presentation and all the other presentations are on GitHub. If you would like to have a look at something again or share it with somebody else, feel free to do so. Also, feel free to get in touch with us, if not now, later by email or on GitHub. We appreciate your attention, your thoughts, and your contributions. Any
Ur Demirci again. I'm sorry if it's a stupid question, but is it then also possible to make a qualified electronic signature with this wallet?
Okay, so first of all, definitely not a stupid questions. That there are only stupid answers, but never stupid questions. Now, with regard to qualified electronic signatures, I can say the following. With the electronic identity itself, you cannot sign. The wallet will not include a signing functionality directly. As you probably know, we have in Switzerland so-called trust service providers and then intermediaries who provide these qualified electronic signatures. At the moment, if you would like to get such certificates to sign PDF, you first have to identify yourself to these service providers, either by going to a counter or also, since Corona, via video identification. Once you have an eID, this will not be necessary anymore. You can directly identify yourself towards these trust service providers with the eID. So the eID will simplify the process of getting a qualified or signing with a qualified electronic signature, but it will not replace it, and the wallet itself will not include the functionality directly. But the trust service provider will first function as you as an insurance, as a verifier, and then with the data that you provide will then allow you to sign the document you wish to sign.
Okay, thank you. Good.
You're welcome. Okay, well, before all of you drop out, I would just like to mention that we plan to have our next participation meeting on Thursday, October 4. The regular one will start at 4 o'clock. It is not yet clear how long it will take and if we start right at 5 or at 6, but there will be a executive summary in English as you have seen it today again as well. If there are no other questions, then again, thank you so much for your attention, your questions, and I wish you a nice evening and look forward to seeing and hearing you the latest in a month in October. Thank you so much.